Alright, time for my favorite pirate Gundam, the X1 Crossbone. Welcome aboard everyone, and today in MBON, I'm going to show you guys some matches with the X1 Crossbone. Now the X1 Crossbone, I like visually a lot. It's a very nice suit, all the way to its ABC mantle, to its beam cutlass. Everything about it looks really cool, and its equipment is even cooler. Personally, I really like the beam shield throwing. I really like that it has a blade on its foot that comes out. Its whip is a really cool weapon. Everything about this guy is just... you would think a pirate mech would look like. It would be very hit or miss, and in this case, it hits right on the mark. But the X1 is a strong suit. I did cover the X2, link will be down in the description. It's a lower cost 2000 mobile suit, and it's much more range based. Now the X1 on the other hand is a 2500 cost melee based suit, and it has a devastating kit. This suit can smack the hell out of you over and over again, and in some matchups, it's really hard to retaliate. But just for a few pointers, this is not a kamikaze suit. There's no kamikaze suits in this game. Well, you can have the Zuda, but what I mean is, don't try to go straight at the enemy. What you want to do is stalk the enemy and wait for a chance to go in. And you might be thinking that's not the best information, but the X1, especially his CC-8B or his running melee, covers a really high amount of ground, and it's very fast. So even if the opponent looks away for a second, when they do, just go straight into that, and by the time they turn around, you've already closed the gap. He has some very strong tools. Both his side melees come at a good angle. His neutral melee is a little slow, but it still does its job. And that doesn't even cover all the melee routes. We have the BC alternative combo route, which is the spin. That does a solid amount of damage. And while you're stationary throughout the entire thing, if you have your ABC mantle out, you can tank a few hits. And those few hits could lead to some good damage if it takes the enemy teammate like 3 beam shots to actually get through your mantle. It's just a very explosive kit, and that mantle can really, look at that. I can just go through things. And a big thing is you want to know the matchup, because I do say this a lot, but if you're fighting a suit like the F91, F91 does have a melee assist, but besides that, all of the F91's range weapons are beam weapons, so you could go through everything it hits, and it's that one attack that you go through that gets the hit that you need. But that's not even that's not even everything. This suit just keeps going with its amazing stuff. But just for some useful information, like the X2, the X1 can use its ABC mantle to free fall out of moves. Now the X2 could do a lot more and was a lot more useful. However, the X1 can free fall its CSA, which could be cool. It's useful. It could free fall itself when it venues itself with its main gun. It could also free fall out of its 2B, which is its shield toss. Now those shield tosses are a little weird. It just throws 2 shields, and those shields move forward. If they hit an enemy, they explode. However, they do act as shields, so they can block a projectile, which is really nice. However, you cannot throw them if you already have them out, and you have to have both of them disappear to throw them again. But damn, this guy's cool. Something I've always had a problem with Gundam Crossbone is that a majority of just things use the much more new design. Because right now, yeah, I like it, but right now what you're looking at is the much more newer, modernized design of the X1. There's a much more retro version, like the first iteration of the X1 or just the Crossbone suits, and that's the design that's straight from the manga. It looks much more round, and it's a little thicker, and I really like that design a lot more than the modern design. I don't know why, I'm a huge fan of just that retro look. There's some other suits that I feel like that, like the original Gundam, I really like the TV anime version of the Gundam much more than like the Gundam Origin RX-78. But I can talk about design-wise all day. However, I do like the metal build X1. Sadly, I do not have that, but I would very much like it. Also, with the RX-78, I really like the G40. That's a good design. However, there is a figure coming out of the X1 that has the retro designs. I think it's called the Robot Damashi figure, and it looks like it has that proportion, which is really nice. So I might have to remember myself to pick it up, because I'm very forgetful when it comes to that stuff. Now, I didn't get any footage of it happening, but I do want to highlight it is his second weapon is his assists. Now, his assist, he can do two things. Any direction in AC will call the assist and go at the enemy. This assist is super janky and super infamous. It's infamous because it will Tokyo Drift on you. I don't know why. It could be amalgamation of just like 5 different things. But this move, just for some strange reason, has amazing tracking. Like, amazing tracking in a way that it could go at you, go past you, do a drift, and come back to you and hit you in the back. An X1 that's looking at you for the entire match, his assist could hit you in the back because of how it turns. It's really janky and it's funny when you do it and it lands on someone, but it's awful when it lands on you. Overall, it's a great assist, and it leads to a combo. It being a ranged combo, if you're up close, you can get a quick melee combo. Just a great assist in general. Now, he does have a second thing he can do with it, and it still consumes the ammo, and if you just hit regular AC, and he'll run at the enemy holding that thing, I actually forgot its name, and smacking them, bouncing them down. Now, this move is actually pretty fast, and it's armored, and that's something that you gotta know, because if the enemy does not respect armored moves in general, you can be very spam happy with them. Now, not like, just throw them out willy-nilly, but it's just it could be a defense option. Someone's coming in, you've been like, let me test the waters and use my AC armor. And if it lands, you're like, maybe they weren't prepared for it. But if it keeps on landing, it shows that the enemy is not, they're not gonna land. Which means that you can do it reliably. Now, if someone dodges it the first 2 times, you're gonna realize, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. They're gonna be dodging it. But you gotta know, you gotta abuse what your opponent doesn't know. And if your opponent doesn't know that AC is armored, or that AC is pretty fast, or that you'll do it on reaction, they're in for a bad time. But surprisingly, his kit's pretty small. I'm pretty sure I just nonchalantly talked about everything, besides the ABC mantle, which, I played the X1 before. I played the X2 like twice on the channel. I don't want to explain the ABC mantle every single time. And his burst special is actually decent. Mostly because if you have the mantle on, it's much harder to interrupt you. The mantle's a very good tool. But for some max damage things, I don't know if I'll show you guys at the end or just show you in the corner, but when you're doing his BC spin in a melee combo, it's 5 hits. And before the last hit ends, you can actually boost out of it, then melee hit the enemy and do the BC spin again. And if you do it properly, you can get 9 spins, which is really funny. It does a shit ton of damage. And if you're in Fighting Burst, you can do it 3 times. You can do that loop 3 times. And if you want like a shit ton of damage, you go AC into BC, which does actually go into the spin cancel route. Then after the 4th hit, dash out of it, AC again, BC, then let it rip. But if you want even more damage, you can actually end the combo with your CSA instead of the 5th hit, and that will do a good solid amount of damage. Now, if you're in Fighting Burst, you can't do that, because if you CSA in Fighting Burst, it will be a nuke. But at the end, you can just burst special if you want to feel like extra snazzy. Now my X1 does need a lot of work. I need to use the whip a lot more than I actually am, especially the pull one. Like, you know, you got the left and right whip that everyone uses, and you know, make sure you're using the right direction. But I feel like the pull one has some very good utility to it that I'm not using. Like, it's a decent get over here, and I feel like I could catch people that are like just away from me. But you know, this is gonna end the matches. It wasn't anything special, just some X1 shenanigans. Very much like this guy, and you know, we always talk about the X1 and X2, but I should give the other Crossbone suits some highlight. But anyways, Slothcakes here. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like usual, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. See you guys next time, and have a good one.